Welcome to IoT Real Talk. No fluff, no filler, just real pros talking about real programs, real challenges, and real results.
Retail stores, restaurants, and healthcare clinics. More businesses than ever rely on cellular-connected IoT devices to keep operations running. But many of those connections sit outside the traditional enterprise security stack, bypassing SD-WAN or SASE platforms and enterprise firewalls entirely. As wireless connectivity moves beyond backup, businesses must rethink how they manage and secure devices at the edge. In this episode of IoT Real Talk, we are joined by Kevin Winchester, CEO of MergeWiFi, an innovator in enterprise wireless gateway technology. We will dig into what's creating the cellular security blind spot many companies are now facing, why relying on a single carrier is becoming a liability for distributed enterprises, and what it will take for enterprises to get ready for a wireless-first future. Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. I'm your co-host, Susanna Song, Chief Marketing Officer at Aeris.
And I'm John Connett, Chief Product Officer at Aeris.
And John, it's been a minute since you've been on the podcast.
It has been. Glad to be back.
Yeah, we've been quite busy. We were just at MWC in Barcelona.
Yeah, great event.
And joining us today is Kevin. Kevin, I just saw you at the AIoT show in Florida. So it's busy. It's kind of a busy trade show season, isn't it?
That it is, and more coming. So yes, this next month is going to be very crazy.
Well, I find it interesting that you came from a direct marketing and satellite connectivity before founding MergeWiFi. What did you see in the market that led you to start your company?
So in the satellite industry, I was successful in finding solutions for several of the large providers. And as we were looking for ways to backhaul traffic, the cellular side and what was becoming available in 2018 really stood out as an opportunity. And and then with COVID pandemic, that led to me migrating from the marketing to strictly in connectivity with MergeWiFi.
What problems would you say enterprises are running into with traditional connectivity that made this new approach necessary for you?
Well, first, you look at cellular as just being able to provide the cellular in areas that traditional fiber and cable couldn't, one. And two, being able to offer speeds and bandwidth that the satellite industry couldn't. So there was definitely a need, right? And so now as we look at this and as the industry has moved from connectivity first, now we're looking at where's the industry going and what can we do as a solutions-minded person? I'm always looking at what the end user and the customer experience first, and then working my way back to the enterprise side.
Yeah, that's interesting. When we first met you, Kevin, I think what stood out was your vSIM technology.
Correct.
MergeWiFi focuses on multi-carrier connectivity. So why is relying on a single carrier, we teased this at the start of the episode, but why is relying on a single carrier becoming risky?
Well, first, there's over 600 carriers globally, ways that you can procure data. So that becomes the gap that needs to be filled, right? If I have a single carrier solution and I'm trying to deploy in a small regional area, that could be a great solution. More times than not, it does work. But if I'm trying to scale and I'm trying to go outside of not just the US, but globally with all 600 carriers, and then I'm looking at trying to unify that in a platform as well, there's nothing out there to do that with that doesn't exist today. And that's what's exciting about what Aeris and MergeWiFi and the discussions that we're having and the gaps that we're trying to bridge. That's the direction. That's where this needs to go, is a platform that unifies and secures the edge, with the connectivity becoming rapidly available in these areas, it was all about deployment. It wasn't about policy. It wasn't about ease of application. It was more so just getting the connectivity to the asset that I need. And now I think the mind shift is it's what's the cost of doing that, right? I can get low cost data, but what does it cost me with downtime, with not having to traverse between multiple platforms? How scalable is it? What's the soft dollar cost to roll a truck, manage all the things that are coming to light today? And where as we become more efficient and relying on AI and more tools, what is it that we can capture there? And that's where our technology, with our MergeWiFi with plus Aeris Watchtower, we now can take those policies to the edge. We can put it in a unified platform, and we can offer the ability to roll at scale anywhere. Anywhere we have a relationship with a MNO. And the other nice thing about our technology is we have the ability in our platform to monitor the health of your primary connection as well. If you're not using us as primary, if you just want to use us as secondary or failover, we have those abilities as well.
Very interesting, Kevin. And you touched on a lot of things, and maybe we can parse a couple
Absolutely.
A couple of the topics that you just touched on here. So starting with like the piece that really makes MergeWiFi unique. So you mentioned it briefly, their vSIM. Maybe explain for the audience a little bit, what is vSIM and how is that different than maybe a traditional multi-SIM or even an eSIM offering, which I think a lot of people immediately kind of go to when they think of kind of multi-carrier solutions.
Yeah. So first, you're looking at customer experience. Let's start there. If we're looking at customer experience as our identifier of being able to deliver connectivity successfully, that's the first thing. So you're seeing it in IoT with SGP.32, right? You're seeing that provisioning and application coming out, and we'll touch on that a little more later. However, with large bandwidth needs, with again, single carrier solution or having a partnership with one carrier, relying on what they can give you back, control in managing that data, that throughput, that resiliency that is really needed in the industry doesn't exist. The nice thing about our platform is that our SIMs are virtualized. It's a cloud-based product. We're able to then provision that SIM card real time to the device for high data throughput. And now we have a proactive approach instead of reactive approach.
Interesting. So you're solving for the challenge of, I need some level of redundancy. I need some level of SLAs or assurance. And rather than relying on the device itself with some type of either fallback or failover, I'm now taking a more active management approach in terms of ensuring that SLA, ensuring that uptime from a connectivity and a connectivity provider standpoint. Is that a fair summary?
Yes. So when you're looking at what we do, and the question that we always are asked, are you a manufacturer or are you a connectivity provider? The answer is yes. We do manufacture a product that does not require a physical SIM card because it's on our platform, and our platform manages that to the site, or if it's mobile, if it's being moved around, it's then reprovisioning real time and in a unified platform.
And this sounds like it also has the added benefit of being carrier agnostic as well. So there's some degree of flexibility that the customer is getting out of this as well.
Absolutely. The customer doesn't have to procure or have relationships with all 600 carriers globally. We do that. We manage those relationships, and then we can leverage that and be the aggregator for the customer. So if the primary, and our goal is, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this, our goal is that once we select the primary carrier at a location, let's say it's a fixed location, we want to stay on that carrier. We want that relationship. That uptime is critical, right? However, if the carrier that has any issues, the signal strength, anything that happens in that, our device can do a network scan and let us know what carriers are available at that location. So it then goes and looks and says, okay, we have preferred carrier A. They're doing their job. We're going to stay there. We're going to keep it there 100% of the time. But if that device moves or that carrier has issues, our device then searches or gives us a report and says, there are additional carriers here available. Do they meet your criteria? And we build that into what we're deploying. So if a customer needs a specific speed at a location to run their equipment, then that's put into their algorithm.
Yeah, interesting. So you're really solving a customer challenge here, which is you don't know what you need until really you're at the site. And if you're a customer with multiple locations or potentially lots of thousands or tens of thousands of devices, that can become a very difficult challenge to manage, especially from a procurement standpoint. So you want to create a strong relationship with your carrier partner, but while also being able to solve and provide the flexibility to the enterprise to solve their real needs.
Yes, that is the magic behind what we do, right? The fact that at that location, thousands of locations deployed, the device can then be provisioned with the SIM card as if it's physically inserted in the device, native to the device at that location, and we disappear.
Yeah. Very good. And you mentioned devices a couple of times. You mentioned fixed wireless access. What's kind of the gamut of devices that you're typically seeing applicable for this type of a solution?
So we have 3 form factors that we deploy. Our 85 to 90% of our deployments are in our Max and our Mount 5G devices, right? So our Max is an indoor router with a WAN port and 4 LAN ports. We can then plug your primary in to the WAN and we can monitor the health of your primary. And then utilize our connectivity as needed, build out what the customer needs for that application. Then we have an outdoor unit that is 5G, that's power over Ethernet, that'll come in and plug into your switch. And we're just going to deliver connectivity and then also deliver Wi-Fi to the campus or wherever that device is deployed. And then we have a personal hotspot that you can travel with that connects up to 10 units that anytime I travel, I always have my mini.
Makes a lot of sense. So really these are routers that are aggregating multiple devices and then providing some type of cellular backhaul that you're obviously managing on an active basis.
That is true. Yes.
So that's very interesting. So then kind of circling this back to kind of your sort of a initial preamble into the conversation. You talked about the benefit of working with Aeris and particularly the issues of managing the edge. Let's dig a little bit deeper onto that aspect of it. So, you are obviously now you're essentially a gateway into the enterprise or the customer environment. Obviously, that's an important choke point, both from a network management standpoint, but also from a security management standpoint. Can you maybe speak a little bit about how you guys are thinking and your customers are thinking about that aspect of your business?
Well, that's where Aeris comes in, right? When we met at a show several months ago, it was one of those discussions that really opened our eyes as to what we were missing as well, because we were in the trenches deploying devices, managing devices, making sure that we continue to build out whatever our enterprise customers need, the technology, to be able to do on site, which we can all do over the air. So we were doing updates, and then the discussion started with Aeris and Watchtower, and it opened our eyes to the fact that we're way more than just a hardware manufacturer or a connectivity partner. We're a platform that we can unify. We can lead the charge in this, closing this gap for large deployments. And so that's what's exciting. I think in the next 12 to 18 months, what we're going to be capable to do, and leveraging the what we're already doing as a business. You've seen it at Aeris with the growth over the last 5 years. Your business is 10x. Ours has done extremely well. And, our goal is to ride those coattails and find those areas where the solution is definitely needed and capitalize on that low-hanging fruit. I mean, because the need's there. I mean, what we're going to do for enterprises is not just be able to deliver a resilient product, but something that's going to continue to get better over the next 12 to 18 months and will be, if there is a cell tower in sight, our device will find it and connect you to it.
So it's really the way to think about it is the customer is using your technology to essentially extend the perimeter of the enterprise, right? Going and bringing the edge and the parts of the enterprise environment that traditionally haven't been connected or maybe haven't been connected very well. And so you're expanding that perimeter, but now you have the problem of course, I've as the customer, as the enterprise, I've expanded my attack surface. I've now extended my networking environment beyond the traditional security perimeter that I've got all the great solutions out there in the world to solve for my traditional perimeter. Now I've got this new perimeter, this cellular edge. How do I reduce the attack surface that now I've just expanded by extending into this cellular domain and this cellular reach for what I only can assume can be, in many cases, critical business applications and services and devices that are being run through your devices, and it's really about closing that gap, and that's both a pain point for the customer and something that I've certainly heard a lot, but about in terms of solving for that gap because it's not an easy one, but also a huge opportunity for you because you guys really sit at the nexus of being able to deliver that type of extension from a security standpoint into that cellular edge.
Absolutely. The beauty of the product is when an enterprise customer says, hey, I need to switch this piece of equipment from an IoT plan to a higher data plan, it's done by a click of the mouse and moving the rate plan. So it's putting it with the right SKU with the right carrier, and so that's the thing that we're solving for today. That doesn't require that truck roll, that going out and replacing the SIM card and making sure that it's provisioned correctly. We can do all that over the air.
That's huge. So you're essentially allowing the customer to simplify their IT operations, reduce the truck rolls, which obviously is a TCO, a total cost of ownership implication, and ultimately get the maximum experience from a connectivity standpoint, while now, of course, bringing the security aspect and angle as well, which is a huge additional value add that there's not a lot of great solutions out there today. And you're bringing all that together into a single package, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. If you're a managed service provider, you deploy our technology with the policies and security features already built in, and it turn it on and it works. It's really a self-install for the location.
Yeah. Seems like the easy button.
It really
is. It's where kind of the technology, like the magic side of technology comes in, when you can just do things remotely over the air without the human intervention, right? That's where you really have those light bulb moments with the customer.
Yeah, and honestly, that aha light bulb moment for me and this was when we met your team, and it really exposed that edge that we haven't been looking at. And then the discussion starts with our customers and our MSPs that we're servicing today, and explaining to them what we're doing, and they're like, "That's what you guys are building is a game changer. It really is in the industry." And that's what disrupting. I'm not looking to disrupt. I'm just looking to make sure that the customer has, and what I mean by customer, because we do service enterprise and we do service consumer. We have a consumer grade product. We have a enterprise grade product, which is really nice for our partners because they can sell in both channels or service both channels. However, at the end of the day, it's always about what's the customer experience. Are we delivering? And it's been seen, and it continues. We continue to see it. Connectivity from the carriers. It's all about selling connectivity at a low cost, right? We call it a race to the bottom in the industry. It's where's the bottom on pricing? Well, because we're running a platform, there's cost associated in us powering our own platform. So it's hard for us to compete in that race to the bottom against the carriers and against the manufacturers, because we're competing on both sides because we do both. That puts a lot of constraints on us as a business. However, the beauty of it is that when you start looking at the lost cost opportunities like you're talking about, what does it cost to roll a truck? What does it cost to service a company? Having AI built in just in our own call center, we've seen our call volume on customer service and technical calls drop by over 60% since we've deployed this. And so there's soft dollar implications that really look at that. And when you're looking at it from as an enterprise, you're like, okay, it may be a little more expensive monthly, but look at what we're saving. Look at what we're able to do. Look at the time. Look how much more efficient. Look at the reporting, all the analytics that's given back to us. And so that's the exciting part, is giving in that unified solution, we're able to give the customer the eyes on their assets that they need.
So it's really moving from a commodity sale to a value sale is really what
100%. Yes, sir.
Very good.
All right. Well, I feel like we can talk for a lot longer, but we're going to wrap it up here. Kevin Winchester, thank you so much for joining John and I on this podcast. And as always, we appreciate our listeners and viewers for tuning in. If you have feedback about today's podcast or questions for the Aeris team or for the MergeWiFi team, please contact us at podcast@aeris.net. Well, until next time, I'm Susanna Song.
And I'm John Connett. And this is IoT Real Talk.
From all of us at Aeris, thank you for listening to IoT Real Talk. We hope you'll join us again for more real stories from real practitioners shaping the future of IoT. Tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, or visit aeris.com/IoT podcast.